Well, it looks like Marvel's in full panic mode at this point because Fantastic Four is going through a significant number of reshoots in Los Angeles. Usually, this indicates that a lot of things did not go well in the most recent test cut, and we're only about 6-8 weeks out. So we may have some real trouble with Fantastic Four, and I guess that probably doesn't surprise anybody. Here we go. Hi, friends, it's me, CultureCasino, again. It's great to see all the Culturians out there, and it's great to see a member of today's conversation. This is Kevin Apollo. How you doing, buddy?
Good on, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, we've had you over here before. We've had this discussion many times about, well, the things falling flat on many different live streams, and it seems like with Marvel, they have a tendency to fall flat regularly.
It's like that's the company policy since Endgame. I don't know what happened, and we're all I'm fibbing. We all know what happened, and we all know why the magic's gone. I just find it astonishing that we haven't had enough common sense to make the mea culpa needed to get back on track. And right now, I know that we're relying on Fantastic Four to be the almighty second coming.
Well, since we just came through or stumbling through the door from phase 5, was it? With the, what do they call those guys? The new Avengers? The Thunderbolts? I'm confused. But look, Fantastic Four needs to be good. It'll be the first time Fantastic Four has been good, at least according to some pundits. But let's jump onto this story because it's going to be a real problem if they aren't quite done. That's the problem with Marvel. Are they quite done? Will they get the effects done in time? Well, normally you'd be concerned. But this article is coming to us from Jordan Rumi over at World of Real, who I count on for being as accurate as Marvin Montanaro over at That Park Place. So there's only a few places I go, folks, and bounding into comics, That Park Place, and of course, World of Real are some of the best ones out there if you are willing to follow them, and Cosmic Book News. But let's get to this. Fantastic Four reshoots underway in LA just months before release. Now, that's not a great headline. That's kind of a concern. We just got this one, and when you look at the story, and we'll start with it right here, this should have people a little bit worried. If this weren't a Marvel movie, there might be cause for concern. No. There's cause for concern, Jordan, I'm pretty sure. However, Fantastic Four First Steps is currently undergoing reshoots in Los Angeles just over 2 months ahead of its release. Now, according to Disney, these reshoots are being described as standard protocol for an MCU production. Kevin, is this a good standard protocol for a studio?
I know they want us to pretend it is, but can it really be? You're less than 4 months out, or not? I'm sorry, not even. We're less than
Two.
We're weeks away. Let's break it. We've got to be realistic about it. We're weeks away from this movie coming out. This is your grand brand re-debut for Marvel's first family, and we're still scrambling with reshoots after listen. The first trailer came out, and it didn't really blow anybody's skirt up, and then we put out the Silver Surfer, and everyone went, oh, why are we doing this again?
And that's the problem, right? Is they don't have a better starting point for the story other than to move it into this really futuristic version of the 50s, which I think is a real problem. But according to the article, these aren't pickup shots. These are real shots, like what you should have got in principal photography. You've got lead actors involved, including Julia Garner, which means they're trying to fix the, Mary Sue element of a Shala Ball, it looks like maybe. But she's definitely involved in this. And the last update to this film, these shots were inspired by a trailer, full-length trailer, which we got 3 weeks ago. And look, that trailer didn't blow anybody's skirts up, as you've already suggested, but they're pushing through. What do you think they're working on right now that's actually, causing this to happen?
I have to wonder. Right? 'Cause I don't know if it's spoiler, but if you're going off of the post-credit scene for Thunderbolts, I have a feeling that post-credit scene kind of gives the ending of the movie away, and I have a feeling that someone realized that Marvel's first family isn't looking very heroic at the end of their first film. So I have to wonder if they're trying to find a way to make whatever happens feel a little more noble. slash I would imagine that they have to be trying to figure out how to get a little extra action, and maybe, just maybe, make Pedro Pascal not look as wussy as he's probably going to come across in the movie.
Yeah, I'm afraid that that's the case too. I mean, if you look at it, it really does look like the Mary Sue Storm show, and it doesn't really look much like a family activity scheme. She definitely is the boss, and she's also supposed to produce offspring. So I have no idea what's gonna happen in this film, and if it copies the ones that came before, we've got a real problem. Especially if you read here. According to Jordan, the Fantastic Four have already suffered through not one, not two, but three cinematic phase plants, which I agree with. You had the campy 2005 and 2007 flicks, which I'm going to say had their own attributes, and one of them was prominent, and she should have been. And then you had the terrible Fan Four Stick in 2015, which, well, there's nothing redeeming there.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I feel like when I watched the trailer, there was really nothing in the trailer that told you who these characters were. So I felt like Marvel was kind of cheating here, and they were relying on you having seen the early 2000 Fantastic Four. No one saw Fan Four Stick, so there's no reason to even want to pretend to talk about it. But I felt like Marvel was trying to, cliff note your way through. Hey, these are who these characters are. You saw them already, but now you're going to see them in the MCU, and I feel like they just tried to use the Cliff Notes version and did not stick the landing, and they realized it too little, too late.
Yeah, and I think your thoughts around the idea that because they disclosed in that cut scene or the post credit scene, the failure likely of that Fantastic Four group against Galactus, I think that they probably realized, we got problems. But look, director Matt Shakman is at this. I have very little hope, to be fair, but I don't think he nor Marvel have figured this out. I mean, this is supposed to be the first family of Marvel, the super family, and they just don't seem to be that way, despite that trailer trying to convey the sentiment. So Fantastic Four First Steps has a real downfall. Pedro Pascal as the character that he doesn't represent in any way in the real world, nor in any other role he's ever played. He is going to not come across well. And then Julia Garner is the female Silver Surfer, Shala Bal, or some version of that. Vanessa Kirby, again, if you just look through the trailer, the specific segments, you can tell she's the boss. She's the boss lady. And I think Disney's figuring out that they are not going to be able to sell this demographic engineering problem that they've been working on since before Endgame. In fact, they started to, show its ugly head all the way back before Civil War even. So when you look at this family and the people that are in this, look, I don't care if this film is supposed to come out on July 25. If you aren't sticking the landing here, like you suggested, Kevin, maybe you push it back. 8 weeks from now may not be long enough if you're still shooting film.
Yeah. Again, they had to get this right. They had to get this right. And frankly, it's inexcusable that they didn't. Excuse me. I've been worried about this since, since John Watts walked away from it.
You know what? That's an important point. I don't think a lot of people realize there. Just like with a lot of Star Wars productions, a lot of writers and directors have kind of cycled through a lot of these most recent Marvel films, and that is a concern because it means they weren't listening to the actual creators. They were still trying to script everything, including basically casting these directors, which is why I think we ended up with Matt Shakman.
Yep, and we've seen so many from the Blade disaster, to 3-page one rewrites that we know about for Thunderbolts, the whatever, not being able to cast Reed Richards until the last possible second because you couldn't find a male actor in Hollywood who wasn't willing to do whatever simp nonsense they needed Reed to do. And for that to happen, it has to be pretty mighty because the adult pretenders will do anything for $1, and they all said no. And
you know what? You brought up a good example of that. Mahershala Ali said no to Blade script multiple times because of what they were going to do. They were going to Hawkeye Blade, which was not going to work. I mean, and look at what it did to Jeremy Renner. He was so despondent, he let a snowplow run over him or something like that. Anyway.
Something like that.
Anyway, well, I tell you what, Kevin, wrap up your thoughts on the upcoming Fantastic Four and whether or not these reshoots are going to save the day.
Oh, listen, it's a problem, but it's a problem that's been consistently plaguing Marvel for the better part of almost 10 years now. I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Listen, hope springs eternal, but whatever they're doing, this is out of desperation and not out of quality, and not out of quality assurance. So, Godspeed, Kevin Feige. I hope you can. I hope you can drag this dead horse over the finish line one more time. And I can't wait to talk about Doomsday.
That's right. There you go. Interdimensional speed to you, Kevin Feige, and to all of your other bad ideas. Look, I don't think Marvel's fixed. I don't think that the Thunderbolts is something that Iger should have talked about in the most recent earnings call as the fix. And I think we're going to get slop after slop for the end of this entire Marvel run. On that note, what do you think? That's right, folks. It is audience participation time, so let us know in the comments section down below where you think we're at, what you think we're doing, or more precisely, what the heck is Marvel doing reshooting this slate? On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya!